What's up, guys? Nolan here. Massive TarkovTV. Lots of new stuff. Lots of stuff that we didn't think that we were going to hear about. Lots of things that we haven't heard about before. Lots of confirmations for dates or time frames of certain features and certain additions and certain updates. A lot of things coming in June. But first things first, there are 5 promo codes that you can use to get in-game items. That's going to be Killa, Bitcoin, Ground Zero, Abdulbos, and Thick. Depending on when you're watching this video, it may or may not be working, but I would just try as soon as possible, logging in, trying those codes, see if you can get some free stuff from it. Off the top, August wipe. That is confirmed. The wipe is going to be in August. We'll go to the details in a second there. We did get a roadmap. It's pretty vague, but we'll go through it as much as we possibly can. Like I said, lots of different things to go to. There's almost certainly going to be a part 2 to this video, but just for the sake of getting this information out there as quickly as possible, we'll try and get as much as we possibly can here. But in terms of time frame, again, August is going to be the next wipe. September, there's going to be TwitchCon. Nikita did say that there is going to be a lot of things going on with Arena, but I'm assuming they're going to be talking about some things there. But he did also say that October is going to be a quote-unquote big event that he kept secret. So now is the time that I shamelessly plug the Patreon. From now until TwitchCon, and potentially if I need to travel for this October event, we'll see how that goes. Every dime that I make on the Patreon is going to be spent on my travel costs for TwitchCon. Thank you all for all the people over on Patreon right now. Really appreciate it. It's going to be a lot of cash that I'm going to need in order to get these flights and stay at these places. I will tell you right now, if this quote-unquote October big event is not in the United States, I'm not going to be able to go. Might run into a problem. I'll probably just go and get that passport figured out as soon as possible. Not sure if this big event is going to be TarCon or not. I don't think it's a good idea to do TarCon. I guess we'll see how TwitchCon goes, but who knows? Let's get to the deets here. The team is focusing on pushing a lot for the release, which is quote-unquote soon. I personally, this is coming from Nolan, this is coming from Nice Guy, this is not coming from Nikita, this is not coming from BSG. I truly believe that they are going to be pushing for full release next year at some point, whether it's earlier in the year or later or right in the middle. I do not know, but personally, you guys have heard it before, I believe that they are pushing for full release some point next year. Earlier than next year, we have major updates coming in June for both Arena and the base game. That's explained in the roadmap, which we'll have up on the screen. We're going to have the connection to the base game PMC and the Arena PMC. It's going to be the same PMC. So whether you're playing Arena or whether you're playing the base game, same skills, same everything, it's the same PMC. They're also going to be adding Ref, the new trader. There's going to be items and barters, lots of new stuff, including loot boxes. Yeah, there's going to be loot boxes. There's these crates that you can earn in Arena, and I'll put these up on the screen so you guys can check these out. It looks like a weapons crate in a thick case, or a scav junk box. It's even called junk. It's called junk. Maybe that's a work in progress name or something like that. What you do is there's going to be crafts in your hideout where when you earn these boxes, it then takes 5 minutes for you then to then use items in your hideout to open those crates. And according to Nikita, it's going to have hideout and quest items in there, which actually, I'll point this out now. The Found and Raid stuff is not coming back. Nikita already explained the Found and Raid is staying the same. The inertia is staying the same. And we're going to have to wait and see if the key cards that are in the marked rooms and stuff, if that is staying the same. However, all he said for Found and Raid is the flea market. So what I'm going to completely assume is staying is the Found and Raid for task items and stuff like that, which might be included because we get stuff like that from the scav case already. So maybe this is just an addition or something very similar to what we do with the scav case, which I don't know about you guys, but I constantly use the scav case to try and get me task items that I can't quite necessarily find or try to get it faster, things like that. So might be very similar there, except these are only earned in Arena, and then you unlock them in your hideout. So whether or not they make it so you can buy these in the future, I'm going to assume no. Nikita did make a point earlier, or he made a point at some point, which I'll put up on Twitter. I'll put up at some other point there so you guys can see this clip. You can actually get verbatim what he says if I don't put it right here in the video. He said that the only monetization that they had coming were for the DLCs and that you were going to do the standalone PvE mode as its own thing. It's my opinion that he's kind of forcing, obviously not forcing, but you're missing out on a hell of a lot of gameplay and a hell of a lot of loot if you do not own Arena. So there's still a bit of sketchiness. I'm sure people are going to talk about that because with this new trader, with these loot boxes that you can play to earn in Arena that you can then use for the base game, I don't know many people that aren't going to want to at least go and try and get some of those boxes. That's all I'm saying. The stuff that you're getting from this trader is pretty crazy. However, he is going to also barter for GP coins. So depending on what the drop aspect of GP coins are in the base game, maybe it ends up being okay. Maybe you end up using the GP coins on him instead of all the random little barters and stuff that you get from like Peacekeeper and Mechanic and stuff like that. maybe that's the GP coin guy. Maybe that's what ended up happening there. But we'll see. This new trader, Ref, is going to have daily tasks, clothing for both Arena and the base game. I think that might have been a mistake. Maybe he's going to have his own tasks where you can unlock your own clothing. But I think Ragman may either have those new clothing or he's going to have both. Something like that. There's new clothing coming. It might be for Ref. It might be for Ragman. I did see specifically somewhere Ragman's going to have new clothing too. We'll see what ends up happening with that. You can also sell specific, only obtainable through him keys, which actually, I forgot about this too. There's actually a arena-specific currency that is going to be coming also called the Lega Kill or Legendary Kill coin currency. I'll put that up on the screen at some point, maybe have a clip here in the video as well. So these are most certainly only earnable in Arena, and it's going to have these, you're going to have these barters for potentially this crazy stuff. There's definitely some crazy stuff that you can get from it, but potentially the rare items or unique items for these keys, for these locked rooms. We'll see what the loot looks like for these locked rooms and how many uses these keys are through a currency that you can only earn in Arena. So that's a thing, something to keep in mind there. When it comes to transferring funds from Arena to the base game, there will, quote, be a comfortable limit there. So transferring through Ref, your currency from the base game to Arena or Arena to the base game, there's going to be some kind of limitation, I guess. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. Nikita did show off the new container that will be obtainable through Ref, which we'll see what we actually end up having to do specifically, but he did say there's going to be a quest line that you can obtain this Theta container through Ref. And I'm not going to lie, they had me in the first half. I was pretty worried about this. I wanted to see what the actual space and how this new container worked. I was pretty worried, but I'm okay with it. It's not that bad. It's not a 4x4. It's nothing too crazy. It's not like Kappa. It's a 2x2 and then 3 1x2s. I think it's fine because I'm still live. Someone just mentioned Hideout Cat. As far as I know, it's still work in progress. In June at some point, because it was on the roadmap, is you're going to be able to answer polls in game based off of your experience in gameplay, what you think of the game, what you think of certain guns. There's going to be a bunch of different polls. When you answer those polls, you're going to get rewards. So that's good. That's something that I've been asking for a while. So I'm glad they're actually doing it. Here's a big one. Unity 22, yes, I said that correctly. Unity 22 is going to the ETS in June. So because of some new things that they've changed with the past Unheard drama and stuff like that, I forget if that was before the Unheard drama or not. Maybe somebody in chat can remind me since I'm still live here over on Twitch/niceguy. They made it so that the ETS can be talked about. So you can't really like show too much, but you can at least talk about what's going on there. So that's a thing. They're going to be testing, or we're going to be testing Unity 22 on the ETS. And as far as I know, 23 is still part of the plan. We will see if they end up doing Unity 23. It's possible that they tried Unity 23 and they couldn't get it to work, but for some reason they think Unity 22 can work, and it seems as if since we are testing 22 on the ETS, that 22 will end up working. We'll see what's going on with that. Overall balancing of EOD and Unheard items, the pay-to-win stuff. So we'll see what they end up doing with the quote-unquote balancing of this pay-to-win stuff and the differences of them adding all this crazy stuff to the Unheard edition, and then everybody being like, that's too much pay to win, this is crazy, and then them basically being like, okay, we'll make it better, we'll give everybody pay to win stuff. As you guys know, if you've been following my stuff, that's not what you do. Just don't do it. Not give everybody pay to win, get rid of the pay to win. But it sounds like they're trying to now balance the pay to win. So we'll see what's going on with that again. Because a lot of this stuff, as usual, it's a lot of Soon TM stuff. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see exactly how this ends up in game. Something that's very good here for a lot of people. Armor adjustments. That's going to be coming in June. They're going to be stopping armpit shots. And what I mean by that is the armor that you're all wearing is going to be able to cover your armpits. They're going to basically go back a little bit. They're going to retract it a little bit to where the old system, sure, if you had something covering your torso, it covers your whole torso. I guess there's going to be some new system that they're putting in that it does cover a bit more so that your armpits are covered, and it's not as brutal as it is right now. So maybe that is something that they would add in June. We'll see if that ends up popping up in June. Nikita actually went into detail here. He was talking about the wait times in the PvE mode are because of the amount of people playing it. 70% of the people that are playing the PvE mode are solo, so they're only going in solo, and each solo player obviously creates their own instance on a server. So the servers are overcapped. So since 70% of the people are playing PvE solo, they're going to then make a system where you can now locally play PvE, but you must be solo. So there's going to be an option, presumably in June, where you are going to be able to play solo only, the PvE mode with the progression. It's Tarkov, and for a lot of us, this might actually just be the way that we play the game. You might be playing PvP solo this entire time too. So you are basically just open to instantly queue, play Tarkov, PvE. That is what they have pitched us today, and that sounds exactly like what's going to happen. Later in the stream, Nikita did confirm that mods are going to be coming. Mod support is going to be coming for PvE. PvE might steal the show. Let me know what you guys think. But when it comes to the mod support, instant queues, and it getting almost all, if not every single thing that the PvE mode is getting, that's pretty crazy. That might end up stealing the show there. Of course, you can't play arena, so if you're somebody that's, you know, and in general, if you're PvP focused, you're not fighting other players. So that's the only thing. But if you're okay with that, that might be like the future of Tarkov, is everything that goes on with these mods and everything that goes on the PvE. I could see that happening. It's almost likely. It's kind of almost likely, because I play a lot of games, but what I play more are modded games. Because people just go crazy when it goes to the Armas, when it goes to like all those Command and Conquers and stuff like that. But, you know, I digress. There's a Bannerlord. Anybody that's played Bannerlord, loads of mods for that. I love that shit. So also in store for the PvE mode is they're going to be updating the AI, so they're a bit more realistic. They're going to also have scavs engaging raiders, things like that happening. And if I didn't mention it before, in June, PvE mode will be a standalone purchase for anybody that doesn't have EOD or Unheard. The PvE mode will be a standalone purchase that you can just get for yourself. And possibly for anybody that even hasn't played Tarkov, that might be more enticing to them to just play the PvE mode, but we'll see. Nikita also mentioned that they are going to lower the speed. He said specifically, quote, PvE progression is a bit too fast. So they're going to make it a bit slower. One of the things on the roadmap that you'll see actually a couple of different times are quality of life improvements, and that's all. So we've got more perception, less recoil on bolt actions, continuous healing, like in Gray Zone. Inventory locking system, where in your stash, if you want to keep a box locked, so every time that you sort your stash, it doesn't put all your boxes somewhere that you didn't want, so lock in your inventory. Grenade selection through G, thank you. Customizable wish list. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Maybe it's like a wish list where you can customize your gun and then you look for that one specifically, but then that's just a preset. So I'm not actually sure what that is, but he said customizable wish list. Compensation for correct cheat reports. When you report somebody and they end up being a cheater, you're going to get compensated for it. That's pretty rad. And then you also see how many times you report people and they don't end up cheating, even though a lot of them probably are. Option to wipe PvE character, that's a big one. So although there aren't wipes, and Nikita did specifically quoted as saying they do not plan to wipe the PvE servers, you can then choose to reset your character if you would like in the PvE mode. New arena game mode, bomb planting, CSGO style is coming. Pretty sure you said that's going to be, yep, that's going to be July. So that's going to be July based off of the roadmap. That's going to be the bomb planting asymmetrical attack defense mode. Interested in that. Personally, again, in case you guys haven't heard from me before, I do like arena, so it'll be cool when, you know, they add up all these different game modes and stuff. I personally do like arena, so that'll be cool. Found in raid, flee, and inertia is staying. Not sure if keycards are staying in marked rooms, but we'll see. I think I already talked about that. It seems like he's keeping all the currently tested gameplay changes in through wipe. So all that stuff that we've been testing, it's staying. Found in raid, flee, staying, inertia, staying, all that stuff. Good to hear, I'm sure, for everybody. Most people. A lot of people. Community is pretty split. We'll end up seeing. August wipe with patch 0.15. Karma and the new boss who hunts bad karma players. I think there was a bit of back and forth. Yeah, there is a bit of back and forth on whether or not this is coming in August. Chat was talking about, but I took a note saying that it's coming in August. I took a note saying that it's coming in that wipe. Could be wrong. Again, there's most certainly going to be a part 2 to this video where everybody in the comments is saying, you missed that, you got that wrong, and then I'll go double check and I'll go through the stream. I'm pretty sure he said that's in that patch. I'm pretty sure he said PMC Karma is coming in the August wipe patch, which is 0.15, and that's going to be when that boss ends up coming. But one thing that was said in the past is they might make it a surprise when the boss does pop up. So it could be that PMC Karma drops in August with 0.15 with the wipe, and then at some point, you know, who knows whether it'll be soon or later. For all we know, the boss isn't even going to be done at that point. We get him a year later. The boss is going to just start jumping in and start capping bad karma players. We'll see what ends up happening with that. Also, he gave him a name too, Partisan. We used to call him the bounty hunter boss, but Partisan is going to be the name of the boss that hunts bad karma PMCs. Apparently, one of those things which we've gotten details in the past for gives you bad karma. It's going to be killing members of your own faction, I still presume. I still haven't, like, we haven't gotten that verbatim, but that's like kind of the obvious thing if you're USEC and you kill USEC, but also if you're Bear and you kill Bear. But it sounds like also if you sit in bushes for too long, your karma is going to be lowered. So rip Stank. He's still going to do it. So Stank's probably going to be the world first kill on this Partisan guy, probably. We'll see. Imagine he like exit camps Partisan. Like if Partisan has to come around on the map, if he doesn't just like spawn behind you, he's gonna have to walk up to you. So if you figure out like a spot, you're a Bad Karma player in the corner of the map, that might actually be a pretty good farm thing, depending on what gear this partisan guy's got. One of the things though is that apparently he's also going to have mines. So Nikita did talk about at some point there are mines and tripwires, and the ability for players and AI to use them as well as disarm them are coming to the game. You are going to be able to booby trap bodies. It's going to be interesting. The future of Tarkov here is definitely interesting. Nobody said it wasn't. There's going to be also the RPG was mentioned, but Nikita doesn't know for sure whether it's going to be something that you only use against the BTR or everything. We'll see what ends up happening with that. So the August arena update is going to be custom presets too. Anybody that's interested in arena, you're going to be able to use the, your custom presets. Obviously there will still be a cost involved with that, or it could be that if you lose or just in general you lose that preset, maybe that's the thing. I don't exactly know how they're going to balance that. There's a lot of different directions they can end up taking that. In my mind, I think it would be pretty interesting, especially if you were like playing ranked, that if you use a custom preset from your base game loadout or your base game stash and you win the game, you keep that loadout, because it's kind of how it works now. You don't lose money, you earn money if you win. So, or at least the money that you earn is you get a profit for it. So could be interesting there. Not sure. That was a bit of speculation, but all I know is that the custom presets are coming. We're going to have to wait and see exactly how that works. Still got a couple months away for that, with it being August. Tech updates. We got the Hideout expansion with this. It's possible that there's this cult scav box room. There's obviously a cult associated room that's going to be in your hideout. We'll see what's going on with that. There's also this really cool loadout and like clothing room along with your presets for your entire loadouts and all that stuff. So it makes it easier for you to be able to edit and manipulate your loadouts and your presets. So that's really cool. New weapons are going to be coming. He showed the M60. He didn't show, but he said the Deagle, the Desert Eagle, is coming. What I presume is, I'm assuming it's going to come in, 50 AE, and then because we have the Rhino, maybe it'll come in 44 mag and the other stuff, and 357, because I think, isn't the Deagle, are there 3 Deagles? There could be 3 Deagles. There's obviously the 50 AE, and I know there's 44 mag. The Uzi and the mini Uzi, as well as the SR3M. I actually got confused in real time on the stream because I'm like, isn't that already in the game? But that's the SR2M. There is also a new weapon coming at some point, but Nikita would not reveal what it was. Given that a lot of the things that they're changing are based off of the feedback and the things that people were saying on Twitter during the Unheard drama, one of the things that happened during that point was he responded to Brandon Herrera on Twitter, the AK guy, for those who don't know, AK-50, the guy who made a 50 caliber AK. Since it's actually working, he commented on that, and I'll put it up on the screen if I can find it again. I'm sure it's just through Nikita's replies. So there's a theory right now that maybe they add the AK-50 to the game, which would be pretty crazy. But as far as I know, they do plan to add 50 caliber weapons to the game with the Barretts and stuff like that. So hey, it'll end up working. Imagine if that's the one that they add. That'd be pretty cool. We also got a new Rizzy episode at the end of this podcast, but I didn't catch anything other than just the continuation of Rizzy's story. We might do, actually, no spoilers. It was just the continuation of the Rizzy story. If you guys are interested in the Rizzy story, go watch the episode. I'll link it below. The PC Gaming Show. Nikita said there is going to be some big things that they talk about at the PC Gaming Show. That's going to be June 9th, so make sure to watch out for that. And I'm sure I'll cover whatever ends up happening with that. There's going to be a quest line called Nostalgia. That's going to be where you can earn the bonuses from Unheard. So all the unique items that you're getting from Unheard, you can earn it in-game through this quest line, Nostalgia. Balancing Respawn Beacon, not confident how it will be used yet, so that's calling in your friends to come help you in a raid. They're going to balance it. They're not quite sure how they want to use it yet. The terminal is going to be the final location in the game, and it is not going to be in before full release. So we will not get to play the terminal location until full release, and even then it will be the last location in the story mode. So we're going to have to wait a while. We're going to be waiting a while before we get to play Terminal. 14.8.9, there's going to be the Cult Jacket for anybody that does have the Unheard Edition, and it's going to have a retractable hood. You're going to be able to put the hood up and down. There's going to be, like, a lot of people are going to be like, okay, so what? But that's badass. Like, that's actually cool. And God, they better hope, or they better make it so that you can put the hoods up on all the other clothing. That's all I'm saying. If the feature's in the game, they better at the same time make it so that you can, maybe not the same time, maybe give them a week or whatever. I don't know if they're going to, like, monetize, if they're going to gamify it like that, but let us put our hoods up, because that would be badass. We already can't turn our heads more than if we had a hood on anyway. Just let us put our hoods up. Mods are coming to PvE. We already confirmed that. Already talked about that. Bipods and weapon resting. They actually showed that. There are clips of bipods and weapon resting working, still work in progress, but that's working in game. They have a, they have a working version of it, and it's going to be coming soon. New event. that's going to be location to location traveling, where you can extract from a map and go on to another map. We didn't get too many details of that, and it's not looking like there's any specifics on the roadmap for that, but that is coming. So map to map travel is coming as a unique event. Also, another unique event, mortar strikes. So that's the video that we saw Nikita tweet a while ago, although I am pretty sure that's an AGS that's being shot into the sky. He said that you are going to be able to use that somehow. I'm assuming it's going to be like reputation, maybe you shoot a flare, I don't know. Maybe you can use the radios, which actually now that I think about it, he didn't mention radios, so I don't know what's going on with radios. I'll DM him later. That's another good part of having a part 2 to this video. I can ask Nikita questions and we can get specifics. Oh, also one of which, because I was too astounded to take a note about it because he said it, kill cams. So Nikita actually said at some point in this podcast that they are going to be adding kill cams to the base game, and he did not specify that it was after raid. I'm going to check right now because I answered, oh, hold up. Okay, so he did answer me because I did ask him earlier in the podcast, smooth zoom optics, and he said it is planned. Then I asked Apple if he meant after raid kill cams, and Apple did not respond. So I'm going to send him a DM later. That's going to be a good part 2. Maybe that's, I think that's something that I just put out on Twitter the second he responds to me, because that's pretty crazy. I cannot see them adding a kill cam with the way that we all understand kill cams to work, as in live kill cams, to Escape from Tarkov. They've done a lot of weird shit. They've done some stuff that I don't agree with, but I cannot, even with all of that happening, see that happening. Active right now in game, a new in-game quest given by Jaeger to eliminate all bosses is available to players. All bosses, including the goons, spawn at the health resort on shoreline with 100% chance. Bosses also spawn at their standard locations with a lower chance. Player scav cooldown has been reduced regardless of fence reputation. All bosses, including the goons, are friendly to scavs regardless of fence reputation. All bosses have GP coins in their pockets. This is like, well, we know the wipe is happening in August, but this is some like pre-wipe shit. That's crazy. That's some pre-wipe shit. So everybody is going to be playing Shoreline right now. Go and have fun with that. So yeah, you're going to be able to call in those mortar strikes, tripwires and landmines. We already talked about that. You're going to be able to put armbands on both shoulders, just like in Arena. Different conditions of weapons and containers. So just like we can get off of bodies of AI right now, where they're the different conditions of guns, same thing's going to happen in containers. What I assume is the cleaner containers, like the good weapon crates and stuff like that, they're going to be a bit better. Some of the random wooden boxes and stuff like that, maybe they're not so good because they weren't stored properly or something like that. We'll see what ends up happening with that. The sound rework is still in the works. Soon TM on that one. Keep armbands and kill a suit through wipes. So those unique items that you earned that are achievements, you keep those through wipes. That's a big one, including the tracksuit. In case you didn't catch that, you get to, if you were in the killer tracksuit, you get to keep it through wipes. Do something while waiting, like your inventory. Okay, so you're going to be able to do things while you're waiting to get into a raid. That's a thing. So you're going to be able to check your inventory, answer messages, just maybe buy stuff. I would assume you can't put anything on or take anything off of your character, but you're going to be able to do things while you're waiting to go into a raid. That's a, nice quality of life, actually. That should have been included in quality of life stuff there. The autumn season is coming. Right now we're in spring, so I guess we're going to go to summer and then autumn. He didn't mention summer, but I guess summer is just what we've been playing this entire time. So maybe it just goes to what we've been playing for the last 7 years instead of the winter or spring, and then autumn will pop up after summer, and then of course we go back to winter. Select your season in PvE. So that's going to be really cool because we're in PvE. You can just select whether you want to play in winter or summer all the time, or in this case, spring or autumn, whenever that's done. Some time-themed events only in PvE or only in PvE. That's the thing I mentioned before, where you're not going to necessarily get everything if you just play PvE, and you're not going to necessarily get everything if you just play PvE or PvP, one of the two. So you're going to want to go check out PvP. There's going to be reasons for you to want to go check out PvE. No plans to wipe PvE, but you can reset your account. I assume at some point, maybe with the release of the game, which I think is going to be next year. That's my opinion. I think that they're prepping for a release next year. I could see them wiping the progression with it, but Nikita did say they have no plans to wipe PvE. However, you are going to have the option to reset your account so that you can wipe yourself and go again. We'll see how the prestige mode, which they still have planned for the release of the game, we'll see how that ties into things. Scav into map is likely, quote, most likely from Nikita, but really high rep, you can select your map. That's going to be pretty interesting. So we'll see if that ends up happening, but Nikita did say most likely scavs are not going to be able to pick your location unless you have a high scav rep. That makes sense to me. That's going to be interesting. He also said that you're not going to be able to jump in bushes. They're doing a lot of cool stuff with the found and raid and the inertia and stuff, but they're going to make it so that you're still not going to be able to jump in bushes. So keep that in mind for that stuff. There's going to be interesting, unique dog tags for both EOD and Unheard. They're going to look different. They're going to look cool. We'll see what that ends up looking like, and we'll see what they actually sell for too. Scav Life and Clan DLC. Those are the two that I mentioned. He didn't mention the maps. We'll see what happens with the maps. and we'll see if they even, at this rate, between what they're defining as DLC and what they're not defining as DLC, what they define the maps as. Are maps going to be DLC? Maps are DLC, so they should be included. Period. We'll see what they end up fucking doing with that stuff, dude. Precise adjustments in settings, including scopes and mouse sensitivity. That was something I just confirmed with Nikita because I didn't hear him in real time. And he even said with mouse sensitivity during the stream that I did catch. He also said RPG is for sure coming, but again, not sure if it's going to be something that you only use against BTR or if it's going to be something that you can use against everything. Still thinking seasonal and persistent PvP accounts. That's where I mentioned before. There's going to be the prestige mode for the non-seasonal, or the seasonal, one of those two. Check out my last video where I titled it something about prestige mode. You'll get the full details on that. Either way, whatever that is, still part of the plan. Guys, that is everything that I have. That is a super long video. That might be the longest video I've made since my my whining video about the Unheard Edition and all that stuff, about taking Tarkov out of my name and stuff like that, as we are here talking about Tarkov. There is almost certainly going to be a part 2. I'm going to condense some questions. I'm also going to take what you guys might be saying in the chat right now or in the comment section of this video, and I'm going to post it to Nikita and see what answers that I can get, if any. It sounds like they're pretty open to answering a lot of these questions, so we'll see what pops up. Doubt it's going to be tomorrow. It's probably going to be a couple days from now, but stay tuned for that. Otherwise, guys, again, I need to get some help trying to get to, especially if there's going to be 2 trips here. Going to plug the Patreon here. Going to need some help getting to TwitchCon this year. Once that gets to $800, we'll try and save the kitty for if I end up having to travel somewhere else the very next month in October, if this ends up being a TarCon or something. Nikita, if you're watching this, there's no way you're watching it this long, but goddamn, I hope they make it. They give us plenty of a heads up. If we're going to be traveling for TwitchCon for this thing, and then also we're going to be traveling for this other thing, gotta get flights, gotta get hotel rooms, gotta save cash, all that stuff. So we'll see what ends up happening. But as it is right now, the Patreon, I post unique updates over there. Any questions that you have, that's what I get up there. Thank you guys. I'm going to be scrolling through the names right now. Unique content over there, even daily content at some instances, especially when I'm away with the IRL stuff. You can just post up on the phone, things like that. Got cool stuff over there. And like I said, every dime is going to be going to supporting my trip to TwitchCon and whatever else pops up after that. So thank you guys again. Otherwise, you guys know the drill. Click all the buttons on the screen to support what I do or come by a stream. Shout out to Twitch because I was live this entire time. Check out my other channels for other games right here, including Star Citizen, Broken Arrow, and Ashes of Creation. Going to be doing a bit of Destiny 2 over there as well next week. Otherwise, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you have a nice day. See you guys.